I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Long ago, in a faraway land of ice and snow, the legend was born and the magic became real.
I'm an elf, yes.
For everyone who believes in him and for everyone who wants to, Alexander Salkind presents Dudley Moore, John Lithgow, in the movie with the whole legend, the whole adventure, and the magical wonder of Santa Claus, the movie. Seeing is believing. An Alexander and Ilya Salkind production, rated PG. Starts Wednesday.
Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to another video, and this is another paid request, this time from Mr. Blockworld. And it's for the film Santa Claus the Movie. Now, for those interested in requesting any type of reviews or topics or reactions, re-reviews, pretty much any type of videos, you send your requests either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Do pretty much any type of video. Now, Santa Claus the Movie came out in 1985, and the way I would put it is, if someone decided to make Superman the movie, but then make it with Santa Claus, because this is produced by the Salkinds, who produced those early Superman movies, and the flying scenes with Santa and his reindeer, the way the background looks is fairly similar to the background with Superman in those movies. And he's even directed by the guy who directed Supergirl. And he also directed Jaws 2. But he had worked with the Salkinds, who produced Supergirl. Jeanette Schwartz, I cannot pronounce his last name. But Supergirl did not do that well. But I guess they liked working with them, and maybe Supergirl had not been released yet by the time they were in production here. Originally, John Carpenter wanted to do it, but he wanted to write the script and do the music, have control. And they're like, no, we cannot do that. I would have been very curious to see what a John Carpenter Santa Claus movie would have been. I think he wanted Brian Dennehy as Santa Claus. That would have been really interesting. Probably a better movie, although I don't hate the movie. I don't. I think this was interesting. This was an interesting flick because it was just neat to see how someone tried to do a somewhat big budget scope of a Santa Claus story, where you have like these mountains of ice and snow, and it tried to do like the origin of Santa, even though they didn't really go all the way with it. I'll get to that in a minute. And in a way, it does feel like two films put together, where the first half of the film is like the origin of Santa and him on this journey to fully becoming Santa. But then the second half is Dudley Moore and John Lithgow's movie about Dudley Moore as his elf that doesn't feel appreciated and wants to earn Santa's love or whatever. He leaves, decides to work with this he doesn't know he's evil, but the evil toy development guy played by John Lithgow. But it does seem like it's two films, and they both have their merits. There's a part of me that I kind of wish it picked one or the other, but at the very least it's interesting. Because, like I said, the way the film looks, I don't think it looks as big as the budget supposedly is. Some figures go as high as 50 million. I'm like, I don't see 50 million on the screen. I think there's something else going on there. I was like, or maybe something else entirely. Maybe that's what all the snow was. Cocaine. David Huddleston plays Santa, and I mean, why does this guy look familiar to me? He plays the Big Lebowski in the Big Lebowski. You know, you have the dude, and who they think it's him, the Big Lebowski, the old man. So I'm like, oh shit, the Big Lebowski is Santa Claus in this. That was interesting. I probably would have preferred Brian Dennehy, because I do think he's a better actor. But David Huddleston fit the kind of sweet, schmaltzy, over-schmaltzy tone of Santa, which with the kind of film they're making, I get why they went in that direction. Some people may think he's a bit too sugary, like too nice, but this is supposed to be Santa. That's supposed to be the myth of Santa for this, so I can go with that. And David Huddleston, he did fine for what he had to do. To me, the true stars were the reindeer. I love the look of the practical effect reindeers. I thought they looked really cool. It's done with animatronics and practical effects. I thought they looked really cool. I mean, it sounds like I'm acting like a kid. I am. Like, when I see effects like the reindeer in this, it does make me feel like a kid again. Because as a kid, this is the stuff that would be like, ooh, ah. And this is a film I don't remember anything about, so it was like watching it for the first time. I might have seen this once when I was a kid, but I didn't remember anything about it. The one thing I remember is John Lithgow eating a bunch of candy canes. That's all I remembered. So it was cool watching this. I'm like, wow, these reindeer look really cool. Yes, it's animatronic, but I'm a sucker for that. I think they did a pretty damn good job. So if more of the money went to them, that's cool. And it was kind of interesting to have a story detail the origin of Santa, that he was this wood carver, the gifts that he would make to children. He had two reindeer, Donner and Blitzen. Santa fucked up, got them killed. No, we will keep going. It's snowing out, it's blizzard. We will keep going. Come on, guys, keep going. And the reindeer's like, I fucking give up. You know, just put me on the ground, put my hands behind my back, and wait for the cops to come. They're done. I'm like, wow, and they're going to become Jack Torrance in The Shining. They're going to be frozen stiff. But these elves come from the Northern Star, including Dudley Moore. They bring them in, and to Bob Vila's Wet Dream. All three of you that don't know who the fuck Bob Vila is. Sure said Tim the Toolman Taylor's Wet Dream. The elf shop. And Dudley Moore shows them the ropes. And apparently Dudley Moore had met with the Salkinds before on one of the Superman movies, where there's a character called Mr. Mitzplix. It's like M and a bunch of fucking letters. Mitzplix, something like that. He's like, nah, I don't want to do that. And then he was, I guess, offered one of the supporting villains in Supergirl. I forget if the character's name was Nigel, or one of the people that was the evil lady, one of her subordinates, supposed to be Dudley Moore. He's like, nah, give it to my friend over here. So finally the Salkinds got to wear Dudley Moore. And I don't mind Dudley Moore. Later on, there are a few times it seemed like he's like drunken Arthur. But I mean, you know, Dudley Moore I don't mind as an actor. I never loved Dudley Moore, but I don't mind him either. You know, I was fine with him in this. Burgess Meredith, he's in it for a little bit as the head elf. He has like maybe one scene or so. But it's cool to see Burgess Meredith, Mickey from the Rocky films. And then they try to explain sort of the mythos of Santa, like, oh, the reindeer fly because they feed him this magic stuff that the fucking reindeer's convulsing. I'm like, oh my god, they have a conniption fit. Or how could Santa get down a chimney? He'll go boom, disappear and reappear, so he's got teleportation powers, really. That's what it is. And, well, how could he get to all in one night? Apparently time, like, almost staying still for Santa when he does his thing. That's kind of how they explained it. And it's like, they're starting to go through, like, how these things develop. Like, how did we get Santa? And what outfit? Oh, it's a green outfit. Nah, how about red? So how'd the red outfit get into it? And I'm like, okay, they're doing sort of an origin story of Santa. Interesting. The naughty and nice list, they have an origin for that because some dickhead kid was hurting the cat, and Miss Claus is like, we gotta have a naughty and nice list. The flying scenes, the backgrounds, they don't hold up that well in today's age, but I guess it's one of those. It works. I'll give more leniency to when Superman did that in the Superman movies, because that's kind of the tools they're using. I guess by the time of '85, they looked a little bit. I guess they thought it worked for Superman, do it for Santa. But there's some wider shots when you see the full sleigh going here and there. Like at one point it goes around the Twin Towers. There's a point where they go under, I think, the Brooklyn Bridge. Those scenes are kind of fun to watch. Granted, if you go under knowing it's a 1985 movie, so the effects are not today's age. But they're fine for what they had to do. It just, with some of the backgrounds, if you could deal with them in Superman, I guess you could deal with them in this. Because it's kind of that same thing. They look better than Superman 4. So, there's that. And like they go into like the poem, a bowl full of jelly. And Santa gets pissed and just tries to go on a diet. But again, it's trying so much to explore the origin, but it doesn't go all the way. What I mean by that is, because they spend so much time. This is how this happened. This is how this happened. This is how he got the outfit. This is how the naughty and nice list was made. But it doesn't go into how the fuck does anyone know who he is? How do they know who he is? They never really get into that. Or how do the kids know his name? How do the kids know his name is Santa? How do the kids know to write to him to the North Pole? Who was Santa before that? If no one was before that, if there was no Santa before this guy, then, like, if there was a Santa before this guy, where's that guy at? If there was no Santa before this, then how the fuck do the kids know about the North Pole, and how do they know all this shit? What, did they put a fucking flyer in the newspaper? Call him Santa. Well, Santa is sneaking in when you're sleeping, so technically most of the kids would not know who you are. What, did one kid notice? But if you want to go into that, maybe could be interesting. But then you think like they're going such origin, get into all this other stuff, but they don't go into that. Like, how do the kids know his name? How do they know the North Pole? How do they know what he looks like? He's a full, a bowl full of jelly. How do they know all this shit? Like, they want to explain certain things, but they don't want to explain other things. So what? Which is a movie? You're the explainer or you're not? And I kind of would have liked to have seen, like, the first full night that his first time as Santa. Not, when I say that, I don't mean like the whole time where he's going through every place in the world, but like an extended. This is his first night. It's a special moment. maybe him trying to get the Santa thing down pat, and do I do it this way? Oh, this is how I do it? Wow, like, how was it the first time where he teleported? How was it the first time doing this and this? And trying to figure out the best way, and, like, to really fully pull Santa into this realm of who and what he's going to be for decades and decades and centuries on end. Really showcase that. If you go into all this build-up, really showcase his first night, but then they don't. It becomes this montage throughout the centuries, and him delivering presents, century. It's like, okay, you're taking some time to build it up. Now you're going by very quick on a moment that should be the culmination of, this is my first time doing this. More in that aspect would have been appreciated, to really get that Santa getting this joy of flying this reindeer in his first time, and maybe some mistakes and hiccups, but learning, and wow, this is the first time I ever teleported. This is the first time. You don't get that sense of, wow, you do at the beginning, but that should be culminating in this, and now you're rushing it. It just felt like now you're rushing the part that we should be enjoying with the character. And then becomes the second movie, because Dudley Moore, Santa's getting tired. He's getting, after all these centuries, he's getting tired. They're like, hey, why don't you have help, like someone else? It's between these two people. One of them is Dudley Moore. Dudley Moore's elf, loves to invent shit. He's an inventor. It's the 20th century. Hey, let's get into it. This other guy wants to go old school. Now, Dudley Moore's going a lot faster, but because it's going faster with this machine, not all the things get put together correctly. Of course, my feeling on it is, well, wait a minute. If this is making things go out faster, so all these other elves are just there twiddling their fucking thumbs, why don't you just have them check it? This isn't, check it? Isn't that part of their fucking job, is to check the shit? But no one checks this, so it's partly their fault too, not just Dudley Moore's. It's their fucking fault too, because they're up there with a thumb up their ass. If it takes 20 elves to build this shit, but then over Dudley Moore's is one elf to do this, the other 19 let them fucking check the shit to see, well, this isn't, redo this, okay, this is good. So that's their fucking fault too. Because what happens is that, it seems like Dudley Moore can do it, presents go out, but then this, I don't know if it was meant to be funny, but the toys are breaking and the kids are crying, and like the kid like, I don't know why that made me laugh. It's not supposed to, but I just like the parents like, of course, that's also with the parents. It's like, well, you didn't buy that for your kid. So are the parents thinking, who the fuck went into my house? That's what I mean. And once they're explaining so much shit, but what about the parents? Like, wait a minute, I didn't bring them this shit. Who brought them this shit? Who brought them it? Now, did they explain, oh, I make them think that they bought it for their kid? Or believes in Santa, but some people don't. But again, in this world, like, again, all this explaining how it got to A, B, and C, but then the parents say, wait a minute, this shit was brought to us. We didn't buy it. Where the hell did this shit come from? That's never brought up. So that's the problem. That is the issue. When you start trying to put logic into why Santa does these things, when the other stuff comes up, it goes, well, wait a minute, what about this? Now, normally you wouldn't put logic into that because Santa Claus, magic, whatever. But again, when you're purposely explaining stuff, and that's what I mean, if they followed all the way through, maybe that could be interesting. But again, that's one of the issues I have with it. Now, what I'm enjoying about the film is that they put this sort of grand, try to have this grand feel to a Santa Claus, like this, I don't want to say epic, but it tried to be, you could tell the producers of Santa Claus wanted this to be a grand production. I kind of appreciate their gall, the gusto, I appreciate them trying to go that route. Now, of course, there's a lot of movies with Santa Claus, and nowadays with, you have the Santa Claus with Tim Allen. That was in the 90s. But I mean, like, making, like, a big production, like, this big effects-laden movie, even more so than those others, it just... and then with the old school effect, I don't know, just something about them, okay, this kind of charming in what it's trying to do. Even if it doesn't ultimately succeed, it's still a bit charming. This is one subplot I wish it wasn't in it, with this fucking homeless kid. That literally at one point, he's staring in front of McDonald's. I'm like, I don't blame you, kid. I want to go to McDonald's too, but we can't. We can't go into it because fucking pandemic. But he's like, it's just all these people eating their burgers and french fries. Like, man, I want some McDonald's french fries too, kid. I don't blame you. But it's just like, fucking come on, man. Like, McDonald's right there. But this kid just, holy cow, how do you do that? Just, this kid was bad. Stilted delivery of dialogue. And you didn't need the homeless kid who knows this little girl. And I'm like, well, Santa left the kid there at one night. Doesn't return till next year. What, did the homeless kid live there? Or did the homeless kid like, okay, nice to meet you, and was still homeless? Like, Santa, you're not going to give him a home? At the end he does, to be fair, but just... oh, you here? Alright. Fuck off, kid. I'll see you next year. And then you get to, with Dudley Moore, when the toys are breaking, he decides to leave. Ultimately finds John Lithgow. John Lithgow, I forgot how late he appears in the movie. He doesn't appear in the film. Was it an hour into the movie? Quite lengthy, which is weird because he was the thing I remember the most about it. Because John Lithgow, he is just loving the evil in this movie. He's the Grinch. Like, if I think of a human version of the Grinch, it's John Lithgow's character in this. Like, if the Grinch never did anything with his heart, and the heart just threw away, this is John Lithgow. Like, the way he talks, even the way he talks to his subordinates, kind of like how Grinch would talk to his dog. Well, that's not how we do it here in a free enterprise system. You're drilling on your tie. Yes, I know. I told you I'm intrigued. Like, just the way he really... he's having fun. It's like he knows what kind of movie this is. He's having fun with his role. Just, he's so over-the-top evil. Like, when, again, Dudley Moore, he decides he's going to have this candy for free, and John Lithgow, like, almost chokes. Free? But then ultimately he does it because his company's up shit creek. He's like, this is good publicity. This is good PR. And it's these lollipops that happen to make kids fucking float. And then this weird theme where I didn't really understand fully why Santa then became in such a funk. Hey, kids are writing for you, Santa. Yeah. Is a candy that makes people float. I don't think they really did a good job of explaining why Santa was such a fucking... like, we're supposed to just assume, oh, kids are really liking this candy. Maybe if they did a better job where them are excited for the next Christmas and then nothing's coming in to really establish that, maybe that would have been better, but I don't know, it just... there's a bit more that could have been done with that. That's what I mean. It seems like it's two different films. Because in that film, lollipops that make you fly. I do love the idea that John Lithgow, he wants to make a Christmas 2. Which I am shocked there's not a Christmas 2 in real life. I am shocked. Because it's like, if we have in March, we have a second Christmas. How much money we don't get from... I am shocked that they have not made a Christmas 2. I am shocked with the way we are with the materials nowadays. But I love that idea that, this bad guy is so evil. It's like, we gotta do a sequel, I'm gonna own Christmas. Make my own Christmas. Christmas 2. And next will be candy canes that people lick and people can fly. But ultimately things go wrong. The candy canes, there's too much shit in it. And if it gets hot, it blows up. And John Lithgow doesn't care. So he's trying to leave and he eats a shitload of candy canes and he flies off and he won't stop. Well, Dudley Moore and the homeless kid, they're going over here. Santa tries to warn them, saves them. And even at the end, there's certain stuff that's not... what's the word I'm looking for? It seems like there should be more to the ending. What I mean by that is, should there not be some big conversation between Dudley Moore and Santa Claus to really culminate the story where Dudley Moore's like, oh, he doesn't like me. I'm like, you broke the fucking toys, you fucked up. But, he wants Santa's love, and then finds this carving that the boy had, and it looked like him. It's like, oh, he does love me. Shouldn't there be some type of big culmination of that, where some ending, some finale, epilogue, to showcase the two of them talking, and, hey, I'm sorry, and nothing, none of that. Just Dudley Moore, just back polar, at the North Pole, as if nothing. And that's what I mean, I appreciate what they're trying to do. I appreciate, even if some of them is a bit chintzy looking, the effects still have a certain charm. Some are better than others, but there's still some kind of weird charm to it, 80s style. And with the music, again, it is trying to be like an epic Superman the movie feel, but with Santa Claus. The David Huddleston and Dudley Moore, John Lithgow's having fun. I wish John Lithgow was in the film more, to be honest. And part of me wishes that more of the film was about John Lithgow, like that story. Except it feels like, I don't want to say the third, second half is about that. So, I mean, I think there's some stuff in the script that could be fixed and reworked. So I guess it depends how you feel about the spectacle, how you feel about, the Salkinds putting this money into a Santa Claus production. Again, it kind of has a fun, charming quality to it. And overall, I did enjoy it. Again, I was a big sucker for the reindeer. Which even then, I wish the reindeer was utilized more. That's another thing. Really, the reindeer that's utilized the most is Donner. Because he steers shitless of heights, and at the end, he overcomes it. But I wish, the other reindeer are introduced, but then you couldn't fucking tell them apart, and they don't really have any characteristics. And if you don't do the whole movie just about Santa and him learning the ropes and the first night, if the movie's all about that, then you could be like, okay, here's the reindeer, and each one have their, I don't want to say personalities, they can't talk, but, certain things where maybe one's always sleeping, or you gotta wake them up, one's always, spitting, or one's always biting, or one gets angry and pissed and moody, and that'll be, I don't know, Vixen. Vixen is always pissed. Maybe, if you're going with the Santa Claus, you could do that. If you're going with the John Lithgow, I think more of John Lithgow would have been fun, and maybe more of, some big sorries between Dudley Moore. There's improvement to be made is what I'm getting at. with the story, the script. And again, the effects, if you don't want to know when this is a 1985 movie, it's not going to be fucking, on the level of Jurassic Park, Independence Day, that kind of effects. Again, there's still some fun charm to it. John Lithgow stole the show, as did the reindeer, the few times they're in it. Dudley Moore did fine. Like I said, sometimes he got a little bit of that drunk Arthur, but overall he was okay. David Huddleston, I would have preferred Brian Denny, and I probably would have, like I said, I would have been really curious what John Carpenter would have done with this. It's at the very least an interesting film. It's an interesting watch. Even if you don't like it, it's interesting to see the look, trying to have a lavish production, to be this big movie. I appreciate its ambition. It might not be successful entirely, but I appreciate its ambition by the Salkinds. And that's what I take away the most from this. They tried. You may feel they failed, but it was interesting, and maybe I need more leniency when someone's trying. So, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.